that thing called life. Hope you're having yourselves a fantastic morning this morning. It is my honor and privilege to be with you every Monday through Friday between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And I am so happy to be here this morning with you. Papa Joe joining me here where sports meets that thing called life. And it means the world to me to have PJ here with me where sports meets life here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. He's with me every Thursday, and the PJ Takeover bringing us through the entire broadcast today inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin'. Papa Joe and I are going to be talking about Major League Baseball. The World Series finished up last night. The Yankees only got it to 5 and lost the series 4-1. They lost they struggled at home. They lost 2 out of 3 at home in the Bronx. So we'll get into that. We'll discuss that. It was the number 1 seed in the American League with the Yankees and the number 1 seed in the National League with the Dodgers. And the Dodgers just dictated the pace here. They dictated the pace. They dictated the game. They never got up. They always seemed poised. The energy and the momentum always seemed to be on their side. So we'll discuss it as Yankee fans wake up this morning frustrated that they didn't get number 28, and Dodger fans now know in the head-to-head series between the Yankees and the Dodgers in the World Series, this was the 12th time the teams have met in the World Series. The Dodgers have won the last 2, and the Dodgers have now won 4 World Series against the Yankees. The Yankees have won 8, but the Dodgers, like I said, have won the most recent, 1981, and now 2024. So PJ and I will talk about the World Series. We'll also get into NCAA football, and we'll discuss our picks from last week, College Football Week 9. How did we do? How did we fare? And what does it look for College Football Week 10? And then we'll get into the NFL Week 8, and we'll discuss our picks that we had, see how we did, and then go on to NFL Week 9, make those picks. We'll also talk about the Jaguars, who have let go of defensive tackle Roy Robertson Harris over the last couple weeks. Now they have traded away Cam Robinson, their starting left tackle. So it looks like the Jacksonville Jaguars are having a yard sale. I wouldn't be surprised if more moves were made in Duval, and we'll discuss it as we go. So with that being said, PJ in the house today with us, and always love having Papa Joe on the broadcast. He is here this morning to talk about so many different things. Papa Joe, how we doing?
Oh, good morning, Daniel. And late nights for the old man here watching baseball. My goodness.
Yeah.
Get up and rise and shine. I had to get up early this morning to finish my homework.
So bring us into it. I mean, like wherever you'd like to start, but this series that I predicted this series at the beginning of the season. I was asked who was going to make it, and I said Yankees Dodgers, and I picked the Yankees in 6. And I believe Ross Turetsky, who was on the show, he said Yankees Dodgers, and he picked the Yankees in 7. So him and I both accurately predicted who would be playing in the World Series, but we were wrong about who won it. Are you surprised that the Dodgers won this, or are you not surprised?
Well, let's put it in its contents here.
Yeah.
Overall speaking, the Dodgers had a better team. You heard me preach to you years now, where you win big games in series, World Series and playoffs, you win it with pitching and defense. And New York forgot the defense last night because they were awful. What I'm going to do, Daniel, I think, is just run through the first 4 games, and then we'll talk about the 5th game, because that's really a show in itself. The first game, I got my notes all over the place here, Daniel, of course. Garrett Cole started, went 6 innings, 88 pitches. He was dominant in that game 1. He was also dominant in game 5 when we get to it. Jack Flattery went 5.1 innings, hit 90 pitches. So both of the studs hung in there. Unfortunately, for nasty Nestor Cortez, who was really nasty on left-handers, but he gave up a grand slam to Freddie Freeman to win the game 6-3. New York struck out 13 times in that game. And I'm thinking to myself, if they do that, and Freeman and Cole and Ohtani and Mookie Betts start hitting, the Yankees were in for a long series.
Yeah.
So with that being said, let's go to Game 2, which LA won 4-2. Freddie Freeman, after the first game, went yard again. Carlos Rodon started for the Yankees, didn't do very well. Yamamoto, who was really a surprise, pitched 6.1 innings for the Dodgers, 88 pitches. He got to win that game. Judge, very, 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 very quiet.
Yeah.
He wasn't himself the first 2 games. Ohtani got hurt in that game when he was trying to slide hands first into the second base bag and jammed his left shoulder, causing a slight dislocation. But he manned up. Must have had a cortisone shot. It wrapped him, and then he played in Game 3. Throughout the series, Ohtani was not himself either. I thought that we could possibly see a big home run hitting contest here between Judge and Ohtani. That never materialized. Judge was lost at the plate, and Ohtani was almost as bad. Neither one of them went yard until Judge went yard last night. So with that, Ohtani getting hurt in the second game, we go to Game 3, which LA won 4-2. Ohtani played. Pitched, I should say. He batted. He doesn't play. Freddie Freeman went yard again. This is hard for me to say because I don't like this precedent. In this Game 3, the Dodgers and the Yankees used 15 pitchers. That's 1-5 pitchers, folks. For me, coming from the old school, if you don't give a starter 6 or 7 innings, the pitch is way out of jams. This new analytical game that they're playing in recent years is far more than I can comprehend. And I don't like it. Dave Roberts, manager of LA, he doesn't pull any punches. He'll use a guy for an inning, use another guy for an inning, and another guy for an inning. It's terrible baseball. Besides, if he pulls the pitchers in the middle of the game, it increases the time that the game is played. Another 10 minutes, as the pitcher's got to warm up, and everything. So, anyway, it didn't work for the Yankees because they KO'd 15 pitchers. Think about that. Game 3, which we talked about, the bad precedent to me was set because of that.
Yeah.
It looked like that Walter Buehler, who started Game 3, looked like he pitched like his old self. Back in a couple years ago, 22, 23, 21, 22, he was a dominant pitcher, one of the best in baseball. Had a low ERA, won a lot of games for the Dodgers, but subsequently had a rotator cuff surgery, and a rotator cuff, but Tommy John surgery on his right arm. 1 year. He tried to come back, pitched for a while, blew his elbow out again. He had to get a second Tommy John surgery. And here we are now. He got healthy, more or less, in the middle of the season. He started some games, pitched a little bit, didn't do very well, had a high ERA, and that didn't look like himself, except for Game 3. His fastball was touching 96, 97 miles an hour. And Walker has one of the best pitches that can be thrown by a pitcher, called the knuckle curve. Not like a regular curveball. The regular curveball sorts of curves, which is why they give the name curveball. But a knuckle curve is different. It comes overhead. It looks like it's coming right at you, and it drops off the table, straight down. Doesn't go sideways, goes straight down. That's a knuckle curve. You throw it with one finger on a knuckle. And you got to have a big hand to do it. You got to have a big arm to do it because the ball is still traveling pretty fast. So he was dominant there. Game 4, well, we saw what happened there. The Yankees exploded finally.
Yeah.
Finally, they got some hits. Hudson, Honeywell, they were. I'm going to say something here. It might be a little controversial, but this is the way I feel. When the game started getting out of hand, David Roberts, to me, sort of threw the towel in. I wouldn't say he tanked, but he knew that he was going to lose that game. There was the Yankees got a lot going for them, going forward. They were hitting the ball a lot better. Helen Ring, of course. And he says, I'm thinking to myself, he's not going to try here very hard. So he brings in two of his nondescript pitchers, and they both get tattooed. And so right there, the Yankees take it over and win it easy. Anthony Volpe, who took over for Derek Jeter at shortstop, he's only 23 years old, and his kids do live in the future, obviously, for them. He was 4 at-bats, 3 runs, 2 hits, 4 RBIs, and 2 stolen bases. And that grand slam really put the Yankees over the edge and kept going. That's why I think that Dave Roberts just sort of he didn't tank the game, but he just sort of he says we got game 5. That's I'm not going to worry about it now. I'll give my guys some work. So Hudson and Honeywell came in, and they just got bombed. So with Wells, their catcher, going yard, Liberatore's 1 yard, the Yankees finally started hitting. So they got a lot of incentive going forward. But Judge and Ohtani are still quiet after Game 4.
Mm-hmm.
Game 5 is a different animal. Completely different than what we played. If people watched it, I watched it with Mary T. And I'm thinking, well, the Judge goes yard, you get 2-run homer. Right behind him, Sism goes yard, solo homer. Next inning, Stanton goes yard. Jack Flattery pitched 1.2 innings, was terrible. Didn't look like any of the pitcher that he was in the first game. So it's 5-0. And I'm thinking to Mary, I says, I may have to wrap it up tonight. I may have to go to bed early, and I'll read about it in the morning. Well, things started happening. The 5th inning, Aaron Judge misplayed a fly ball in center field from error. Anthony Volpe had a grounder to shortstop. He had a simple force out of third base. He throws the ball wide. Didn't know for it. Now they got the bases loaded, and the hitters that are supposed to hit. Freeman got 2 RBIs. Hernandez got 2 RBIs. In that inning, Austin Wells, the catcher, was called for interference. Now, the only way a catcher can be called for interference is if he puts his glove farther out to the plate instead of back into his body. When that happens, sometimes the bat of the hitter will hit the glove, and that's not right. That's wrong. So the umpire clearly saw it. And he says, "Out. You're in first base," and loaded him again. And I think they were second and third. So the next batter was a little dribbler to first base, and usually the first baseman feels it and can take it himself. However, it was to hit this ball with a little slower and hitting a little bit faster to Anthony Rizzo, first baseman. The pitcher is supposed to cover first base. Well, Garrett Cole didn't cover first base. Now the bases are loaded again. Weaver got called for balk. So in this inning, the Dodgers got 5 unearned runs. Now, unearned runs means that Garrett Cole did not get charged for any earned runs. Certainly he gave up the 5 runs, but he wasn't responsible for it. He made one bad play, which didn't help the situation, because he didn't cover first base. His pitching was good. He pitched into the 7th inning. He was nasty, like he usually is. They weren't, knocking the cover off the ball. But because of Judge's error, Volpe's error, Cole's error, Wells' interference, and Weaver's balk, you got a tie. You got a tie ball game. And no Ohtani. Max Muncy, 0 for the World Series. These guys are killers. Muncy's an excellent left-handed hitter. Plays a mean third base. Couldn't get it going. Struck out a lot. He was 0 for the series. That doesn't happen too often. And Judge and Ohtani were almost 0 for the series. Judge at least hit well in this game. At least got a home run to get things going. But it wasn't the kind of base. It wasn't the kind of ball that you would expect the Yankees to play in a World Series. Just the errors were too much to overcome. Once that happens, then you wind up with a bullpen battle. New York puts in a pitcher, LA puts in a pitcher, back and forth, which is why a lot of people, they don't like the game of baseball because it's played too slow. It's not played slow. It seems like it. And every time you change a pitcher during an inning, it increases the time. Terrible. Now, LA in this game, Los Angeles got 9 bases on balls.
Yeah.
That's unacceptable. There were 13 pitchers in this game. I think the game ended at 10 minutes to midnight. So it was almost a 4-hour game. But the most important part of it was a pitcher that was lost a couple years ago came in to close the game out. Walker Buehler, in my opinion, is going to be the 5th game, the 7th game starter. If the game went back to L.A., Yamamoto would be the 6th game starter. If they lost it, Buehler would pitch the 7th game. What does Davey Roberts do? He says, Walker, go down and warm up. All of a sudden, you see in the middle of the 4th and 5th inning, see Walker Buehler walking from the dugout to the bullpen. And if Yankee, people are saying, "Oh, we don't want to see that guy. We don't want to see that guy." They're lucky to want to see that guy. He was brilliant. A one inning save for one of the most nastiest pitchers that he can get, which is a knuckle curve. He struck 2 guys out on that, and that was the game. I mean, it wasn't pretty to watch because of the errors, but it was worth it. Again, no Ohtani. Ohtani was not a factor in this series at all. He got hurt, and frankly, you could tell when he was swinging a bat. I think he was just trying to uppercut a little bit instead of hitting it level, and that really hurt him. He needs to get the ball in the air to get a home run. He doesn't need to let a line drive home runs. He's a majestic kind of guy. It's the ball high in the air and deep. So, at the end of the series, at the end of the 5 games, Freddie Freeman is the MVP, justifiably so. He had 4 home runs, 13 RBIs. Mookie Betts had 16 RBIs. Hernandez had 2, and Hernandez had 12 RBIs. Judge, Stanton, and Volpe did the best they could to stay up with him. Volpe did his thing. Stanton hit the ball pretty well, a couple yards. And Judge, other than this 5th game, did not play very well. He didn't hit very well. He didn't field very well. So when you look at a game like this, and you're thinking, how can the Yankees blow it like they did? They didn't really blow the game, but they got the Dodgers back in it. People like myself and people around the country and the world, after 5-0, the Yankees are up 5-0. You don't want to stick around where you need to go to bed.
Yeah.
Well, if you stayed up and watched the comedy of errors, and the Dodgers tied it to 5, I knew right then. Mary had already gone to bed, and she got up and she heard me talking, and she says, "I can't go back. I can't go to sleep yet. I got to watch this." And she did, and I stayed up for the whole thing, and I sort of knew then that the insurgency of L.A. that 5th inning was probably one of the best come-from-behind innings I've ever witnessed anywhere. Of course, it all had to do with what I call the 3 errors in that inning, with Judge, Volpe, and Cole. Displaying balls, not covering first base. Wells with interference, Weaver with a ball. You can't do that against good teams. They come back to bite you in the butt. So with Freddie Freeman winning the MVP, the Dodgers win for the second time in 5 years. I don't know if you use the term dynasty with the Dodgers. They do have an excellent team. Friedman, who is their general manager and president of baseball operations, used to be that title for the Tampa Bay Rays, and he did wonders with very little money. Now he goes to L.A., he starts rebuilding the team. I'm meaning that he went to trades for good players, not great players, but good useful players, like Tommy Edman. Switch hitting, little cracker box, shortstop, second base, any place in the outfield. He could play anywhere. He's a switch hitter. He's mean as hell. And that's the kind of guys that Friedman got into it. However, after signing Ohtani and Yamamoto, he's already exceeded $1 billion for salaries for starting this coming year. Now, that's a lot of money, folks, and I don't think you can retrieve your money on that. Your return is not going to be good on that. But I'm sure LA, like New York, has a good cable contract for their teams, the Los Angeles area, and they can afford something like that. So, but you got some run-of-the-mill guys that were part of the team that were good and had good years, and you have Gavin Lux and Will Smith as a catcher. Will Smith, to me, was probably one of the most, if not the most, valuable player in this series. Why? Because he caught every single game, every earning, and every pitcher. You don't know how hard that is. He's 29 years old. He hits well. He went yard, I think, in the second game, I think. He's just an outstanding catcher. So you got the catchings right up the middle. You got pitching and catching and defense. And folks, if you don't have pitching and defense, you're not going to win. And the Yankees proved that. The pitching was fair. The Dodgers pitched better. The Yankees did not feel good at all, especially in this 5th inning last night. And subsequently you lose. If you don't have pitching and defense, you're not going to win.
Yeah, and that's been the issue. That's been the issue with the Yankees. I got asked over the last couple of years, what's the problem with the Yankees? And my answer would stay with the fact that they need better pitching. You have Garrett Cole, you have your ace, and that's all well and good, but you have to have better pitching. And the Yankees, obviously they showed in this series that their rotation is not, well, I shouldn't even say the rotation. They're not, when they have relief pitchers come in to help them, it doesn't turn out well. There wasn't threats from these guys. It didn't really matter who came in. Garrett Cole had the best game of anybody. And like they do, and like you mentioned, they take pitchers out too early in today's baseball. In game 1, if they didn't take him out, arguably, they could have finished that game with a victory. Garrett Cole had played lights out, and he was in a great position to help them take a game in LA in game 1. But they took him out. And after that, you don't have pitchers that have, when it came to the Dodgers, what was the Yankees rotation doing that was silencing the Dodgers? Not much. And the relief pitching is where the issue, to me, really lies. Yeah, you look at the rotation and say you can get better and you can bring in other guys. But I look at the relief. I don't look at the starting pitchers. I look at the relief and I say, who was making anybody feel good? I was talking to Yankee fans throughout this process and throughout this series. And their response when different guys were coming up was, I don't want to see that guy. I don't want that guy pitching for the Yankees. I don't want that guy up there. And it just seems like the Yankees really have to get so much out of their starter, or else they're going to be in a trouble zone. And once those starters pitched a bunch, I mean, you look at Garrett Cole yesterday, when he's in an inning, and at the time I was looking, he had pitched 27 pitches in that inning. You say, okay, this is a long inning. They went through the rotation. This is not good for him. And once they started going into relief, the Dodgers start taking advantage of the Yankees. All they had to do with the Yankees is get your starter out of there, get you into relief pitching, and take advantage of it. And there's a lot of different things I want to talk about, and there's a lot of things that you spoke about, PJ, but I want to sit with this for a second because that is a glaring issue. When you talk about pitching and defense, I go back to specifically with the Yankees, looking at the fact that their relief pitching doesn't really, in my opinion, it wasn't a threat. It wasn't scaring anybody. And when those starters came out and those relievers came in, I don't feel like the Yankees had much from them.
True. But let me say that the Yankees weren't totally devoid of relief pitching. They got two closers. They got Holmes and Weaver. Both of them are tough. Both of them had mid-ones ERAs for the year. But you're right. Other than those two guys, the relief pitchers that came in after a short stint from a starter, sort of like didn't hold it until Holmes and Weaver can get to the games. Weaver pitched really good. But he did give up one hit, and that drove in a couple runs. He walked the guy. He's a strikeout pitcher. Holmes only pitched 1/3 of an inning. However, he walked the guy and struck out a guy. So if you're coming in relief and you're only going to pitch 1 or 2 innings or partial innings, you got to throw strikes. And if you don't, both of these teams, as I said earlier, maybe a couple weeks ago, is that they work the count. They know the strike zone. They know the umpires. They know the umpire is going to call home plate. They know what kind of pitches he's going to call. The Dodgers work the pitchers of the opposing team to death. The Yankees do the same thing. Juan Soto, as good as a hitter he is, and as good as he's a scare at the plate. He's really scary. But he also walks an awful lot. He walked 3 times last night. He's got a great eye. And again, knowing the umpires, where their strike zone is. And if they don't hit the strike zone, it's called a ball. And the Dodgers did a great job. That's why the Yankees had so many walks in a game. You can't do that against a good team. Holmes and Weaver are the two best, and they both walk guys and causes runs. So your answer is correct about the relief pitchers, the mid-relief pitchers we call them. They didn't add up. They couldn't hold another team before they got Holmes and Weaver.
Yeah, and the other, and I mean, so you look at the pitching side of things. Like I said, there's no threat. It seemed like with the Yankees, when the Dodgers had their starter out there, it was a threat. When their mid-game relief came in whatever inning, they seemed to continue to be a threat when it came to the Dodgers. But for the Yankees, it wasn't. When you look at the offensive side of the ball, the Dodgers throughout this series responded. The Yankees rarely, they couldn't hold the line. In Game 1, the Dodgers responded to the Yankees. The Dodgers are like, okay, you went up, or you're fighting here, we're going to come right back. When they went to extra innings and the Yankees in that extra inning in the 10th inning score a run, now they're up 3-2. All they got to do is get 3 outs, get out of there. You load the bases and Freddie Freeman comes up and bangs a grand slam, and they win 6-3. In the second game, which is also in L.A., the Yankees responded to the Dodgers, and the Dodgers responded again. In Game 3, the Dodgers had it. The Yankees got a couple runs late, but the Dodgers had it. They didn't have to respond to much. In Game 4, the Yankees' bats woke up. In Game 5, like you said, people are watching this game going, okay, the Dodgers look like they're out of it. They're down 5-0. It's the 5th inning. What are they going to do? And little by little, they chipped away and they chipped away and they chipped away until they got the tie. Then they pushed the Yankees and go, okay, we're going to lead you. Now you got to respond to us. They played chess through this whole thing. They dictated this entire series. And outside of Game 4, where I agree with you that manager Dave Roberts was like, I'm not going to waste my pitchers. I'm not going to throw guys out there and put more work in it for them. We're going to take this loss and we're going to go on to the next one. I'm not going to mess with my chessboard, because he wasn't playing checkers, he was playing chess. And in the chess game that he was playing, he wasn't trying to put his pitchers through more of a workload. It was like, okay, you know what? Their bats woke up. They're doing their thing. We're back here tomorrow night. We'll take care of business. I'm going to keep my plan, the plan that I had. And it ended up working for him. But looking at this, PJ, I mean, at no given time did the Yankees dictate this series. Even in Game 4 when they won, it was like, okay, you got one. That's great in front of your hometown crowd. But they never dictated the pace. And I talked about this throughout the series. They were swinging at pitches like they needed a hit. They had to have a hit. We got to get a hit. They weren't letting the game come to them. They were chasing the game. They were trying to force the game. They were trying to push the game. They weren't letting the game come to them. A lot of these guys didn't look comfortable. Aaron Judge did not look comfortable at the plate. There's certain guys like Gleyber Torres that had good moments. And there's guys like Jazz Chisholm Jr. who, in my opinion, had, arguably maybe the best moments. He was giving them a fighting chance. He's stealing bases. He's getting on base. He's moving guys forward. And they bring him in during the season, which was a good move. Taking him off a Miami Marlins team that was awful. But besides a few of these guys, besides a Jazz Chisholm, besides a Gleyber Torres, besides Giancarlo Stanton early on, the Yankees looked like they were the little brother to the Dodgers. They were responding. They were reacting. They weren't imposing. They weren't making the first shot, taking the first shot, pushing the pace of the game. They never had the momentum outside of Game 4 when the bats woke up and people went crazy. This series, to me, was the Dodgers to lose. Not the Yankees to win, but it was the Dodgers to lose. Because Game 1 showed me you are not in a place where you got one or two guys you got to be concerned about. You are not in a place where you have one or two pitchers you need to be concerned about. Your relief pitchers don't stack up with their relief pitchers, and their defense is strong. Yes, they made some mistakes. But last night, the Yankees didn't lose the game last night because the Dodgers' bats woke up and they were just fantastic. The Yankees lost the game last night because the Yankees beat themselves. They consistently, throughout the game, beat themselves. Error after error after error, bases loaded here. How do you throw to first base and not know the rules? I understand in the heat of the moment people make mistakes, and so but when you are in a game like that, and it is that close, and it is that deep into the game, and we're coming to the tail end of it, to make a mistake like that is just a mental error. And they made so many errors in this game, which forced them to be in a place that the commentator said. He's like, you got this guy right, up at bat right now, up at the plate, and there's nowhere to put him because the bases are loaded. The pressure was on the Yankees from the minute this series started, and the pressure never came off of them. They never once, in my opinion, took the bull by the horns and dictated the pace of this series, and that's why they lost the series.
That's true. And you would think that a team that is loaded as the Yankees are with bats, that they would score more runs than 2 runs here, 4 runs here, 2 runs here. Of course, they blew it out with 11 runs, but for the most part, you are correct. They did not answer the challenges of the Dodgers pitchers. I think that Flaherty, Yamamoto, and Buehler, the first 3 games that were pitched, told a tale. Pitching and defense will win the series like it usually does. Unfortunately, the Yankees, as you said, never got comfortable, especially Judge, never got comfortable at the plate. You got to be free and easy when you're up there. Judge put all the pressure on himself. He was swinging outside the zone. He's a sucker for curveballs, especially a knuckle curve that drops straight down. And he wasn't himself. Torres played well. Soto played well. Stanton hit the ball a lot better than I thought he would, because I think he's as stiff as a ball player. If I had him in the field, there'd be 20 more errors. So Stanton, as long as he's a DH, he can produce. Volpe plays a solid shortstop, but made a crucial error. All of these things lined up, and of course Weaver balking. That's unacceptable. You had to know your move to first base. If you don't know your move, you step off the rubber. That's the way it is. Your foot goes off the rubber, that's a timeout, and you settle back in, get your signs, and go right again. He didn't do it, and Wells's mitt caused a big problem for them. So instead of Ohtani being struck out and out, Ohtani had to be awarded first base because of catcher interference.
Yeah.
All these plays, these 5 plays that we talked about, Judge, Volpe, and Cole errors, Wells interference, Weaver balked, all of this materialized in the 5th inning. Yeah. But Dodgers still had hit to bring the ones in, and they did. Freeman and Hernandez got the 4 RBIs. Before you knew it was 5-5. And all the people who went to bed early woke up this morning with egg on their face.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When you talk about, when we talk about football, we talk about turnovers, right? You can't turn the ball over. You can't give the team that you're playing against extra opportunities, extra possessions to score. And that's, in baseball, turnovers are errors. That's what they are. When you allow opportunities to happen and you look at it and you say, okay, there's those 5 blunders. The Yankees were up 5-0. We talk about five blunders, and they capitalized on those blunders. The Dodgers responded because this was a Dodgers team that you could not make a lot of mistakes with. You couldn't put yourself in a position with the Dodgers, because look at the games that they played. Outside of the Yankees getting 11 runs in Game 4, we got a 6-3 extra innings game. We got a 4-2, we got a 4-2, and we got a 7-6. The Dodgers didn't care what window you gave them. They knew how to respond. They knew what to do. They had the pitching, they had the defense, and they didn't make as many mistakes as the Yankees made. The Yankees, for whatever reason, looked timid. The Yankees, for whatever reason, looked tight. And that is something that they have to go back and they have to think about and they have to figure out. Why did this team look so scared to play the game? And getting to where they got to was great. Handling business the way they handle business was great. But the New York Yankees that I know, they don't cower under pressure. They don't sweat when it's the 11th hour. This, to me, was like watching a team play the New England Patriots when Tom Brady and Bill Belichick were there. They would play well all the way up till that game. And the moment they saw the big bad wolf in the playoffs, they got scared. He's going to blow my house down. The Yankees in this series, to me, didn't look comfortable, didn't look confident, and confidence is key. They did not look like they were having fun. They didn't look like they were enjoying it. They didn't look like they were playing free. It looked like a pressure cooker from the moment it started, for the most part, outside of some moments in Game 4. They didn't look comfortable. and the Dodgers attacked that. The Dodgers, to me, were like a snake in a garden that never took their eyes off of you. They decided to bite at you when they wanted to, but they never took their eyes off of you. Where I saw the Yankees as a mouse in the garden that wouldn't look at the snake. They just kept running back and forth, but they wouldn't look at the snake. The snake never lost eye contact. And that's, to me, why the Dodgers won. Yeah, they have pitching. Yeah, they have defense. Yeah, they committed less errors. Yes, they can hit the ball. But the Dodgers had an X factor. They had confidence. They had poise. And they never looked like they took their eyes off of the ball. They never looked like they were concerned. They never looked like they were sweating. They never looked worried. They could have been terrified on the inside, but they never showed it. And there's truth to the fact that you never let somebody see you bleed, PJ. The Yankees let the Dodgers see them bleed. The Dodgers might have been bleeding, but nobody knew.
That's true. It was really tough to watch that inning last night. I certainly didn't want the series to end like that. I wanted to see the best players make the best plays and the pitchers do the best pitching. But the Dodgers pitching staff overwhelmed Garrett Cole and his buddies. As good as Nasty Nestor Cortez was this year, he got hurt, came back too early, gave up a grand slam to Freddie Freeman in the first game, pitched a little bit in the next couple of games, but nothing. They didn't have the starters. They had Gil, they had Rodon come forward as their aces. Rodon didn't last, but 3.2 innings or something. Gil pitched a hell of a game when the Yankees won 11-4. He did a good job. He had he gave up a 2-run homer to Freeman, but after that he settled down, pitched 6 good innings, and that's all the Yankees needed. They didn't need to bring in nine relievers because they were winning the game so easy. So I think we're looking forward to next year, where certainly both teams will be poised to continue their dominance in the American and National Leagues. Davey Roberts from L.A. doesn't get enough credit for what he does. Now, as much as I don't like bullpen baseball, Davey Roberts likes bullpen baseball. On several occasions this year, he's used 7 or 8 pitchers in a game. If one of his pitchers was in a rotation and wound up a little tight, or he couldn't pitch, they didn't bring in another starter. They started with a bullpen guy. He pitched an inning or two, and it went straight through. Every inning was a different pitcher, a different way for the batter to adjust. Davey Roberts did a hell of a job managing last night. That was difficult. You could see the stress on his face after the 5-0 lead that the Yankees got. When he got comfortable again, he still had the same face. He was still looking. Every time I took a shot of him at the dugout, he's got his arms wrapped over the railing there, and he's looking on, not missing a thing. And he didn't miss anything. He brought in his guys to quell the disturbance that the Yankees did, and he managed them to the World Series. So for everyone who watched and listened to us, and of course, give Davey Roberts a lot of credit for what he did. He's got a good team, certainly, and a lot of team that people would say money can buy, which is certainly what Ohtani and Yamamoto, 2 foreigners who are taking our money, but they're good players. And Ohtani wasn't himself, so I'm curious to find out if Ohtani is going to have any type of surgery on his elbow or his shoulder, or they're just going to pop it back in place, and he's got to rock and roll from there. So Davey Roberts, I think, outmanaged Aaron Boone. Aaron Boone was put at a disadvantage because Soto wasn't hitting as well, and Judge certainly was an abomination for 4 games. And even in the last game, I think he was something like 1 for 4. So the hit being a home run, which is great, but when you got someone like Aaron Judge, you got to take it the whole way. I mean, he had 2 hits and 3 at bats. Good. His average went to 184. Where the hell are you going to win anything batting 184? Ohtani is the same way, batting I don't know, 230 or something like that. Ridiculous numbers. So next year, I think I got my play ball training camp shirt on already, Daniel. So I'll be looking forward to February when they start their spring training.
Yeah, and to go to one other thing. I mean, I want to make a positive note for Aaron Judge, because I know he struggled offensively in the World Series, but Judge in Game 5, he crashed into the wall to steal extra bases from Freddie Freeman, and then he had an error on a liner. It was his first error in 2024, regular season or postseason. So he went all 162 games plus the postseason and didn't have an error until last night. So I want to give some credit to Aaron Judge there, because, a lot of people are pissed off and mad at him right now, but I want to be clear that this man defensively hasn't had a lot of blunders this season. I do also want to go to the other side. I mentioned Freddie Freeman. I want to go back to Freddie Freeman here, the World Series MVP, duly noted. There's things that I realize about sports. I've been covering it for a long time. I'm celebrating my 21-year anniversary, my favorite number, next month, which starts tomorrow. 21 years of being a broadcaster. When I have watched games and I've seen things over time, it doesn't matter the sport. There are moments that I see and something inside of me goes, they're going to win this series. And that's the video they're going to show. That's going to be in the highlight reel. Freddie Freeman's walk-off, extra inning, grand slam in Game 1, when I saw that, I thought to myself, okay, obviously the series isn't over, but moments like that seem like moments of destiny. And when he hit that home run, when he had that grand slam, something inside of me said, I could see that on Sports Illustrated's commercial. Freddie Freeman homered in each of the first 4 games of the World Series. Then he drove in 2 runs during the 7-6 victory. Nobody has had more postseason World Series games in a row of hitting a home run than Freddie Freeman. He is number 1 in Major League Baseball history in his streak of World Series consecutive World Series games with a home run, which I believe is 6. So when you look at what he's done, it was absolutely incredible. He batted .300. He had 4 home runs and 12 RBIs. His father, Frederick Freeman, said, quote, he's tougher than I am, that's for sure. I don't know any other person who could have done that. End quote. And Freddie said, you don't really think about the hot streak when you're up there. Things seem to be slowing down. That's kind of what you're just trying to do. And I think, obviously, experience definitely helps in that situation. End quote. Now, Freddie Freeman signed with the Dodgers before the 2022 season after 12 seasons with the Atlanta Braves. Dave Roberts, the manager of the Dodgers, said, quote, if I had one player, I've said it before, if you, all-encompassing, he's my favorite player to be around as far as what he does for the culture, the organization, the team. End quote. Freeman has an active streak of 7 consecutive World Series games with an RBI, tied for the 3rd longest streak in Major League Baseball history. He also has gotten at least 1 hit in each of his 11 World Series games. So, Freddie Freeman has the most World Series games consecutively with a home run, 6. He's 3rd in Major League Baseball history of World Series games with an RBI consecutively, which is 7. And he has at least 1 hit in every one of the World Series games he's played in his career, which is 11. He was the National League MVP in 2020, and he became the 12th player to win a regular season and a World Series MVP. 10 of the previous 11 are in the Hall of Fame. Freddie Freeman said, quote, "To come through in those situations, that's what you dream about as a kid. Doing that in the World Series. It's hard to talk about right now, but maybe in a few days, when I've let it settle in, I'll have better answers for you. Right now, I'm just ecstatic." End quote. We talk about Shohei Ohtani. We talk about Aaron Judge. We talk about Mookie Betts, and so on and so forth. But the reality of it all is that Freddie Freeman stole the show. Freddie Freeman was consistent. Freddie Freeman embodied the culture and the attitude of the Dodgers arguably better than anybody else out there. Freddie Freeman was the leader in the World Series. Freddie Freeman was the standout. Freddie Freeman was the difference. And yes, pitching. And yes, defense. And yes, there's more bats than Freddie Freeman. But from game one, Freddie Freeman became that spotlight. He wasn't afraid of it. He didn't shy away from it. He loved it. He enjoyed the brightness and the warmth of it. And he came through. And I feel like all of this conversation about Judge and all of this conversation about Ohtani and everything we hear about them all season long, we need to stop, put that aside, and Freddie Freeman needs to be the name that rings true over and over and over again. Because Freddie Freeman not only was a massive get for the Dodgers, but he has come through on their investment on him. And the reality of it all, and what I love the most about Freddie, what I love the most about this entire series when it came to Freddie, even though I picked the Yankees in the preseason, as an impartial broadcaster, I picked the Yankees over the Dodgers in the preseason. Even though I was wrong in my prediction of the winner, not in who was going to get there, I got halfway there. I got the teams right. Even though my prediction was wrong, what I love the most about this series is after he hit that grand slam, he went right back to his dad. I give it to my dad. I give it to my father. You know, he didn't say like, oh, my dad's looking at me thinking I'm awesome. He's sitting there going, in this moment where I did something, I go right back to Pops. And I don't care who you're a fan of. Moments like that, shared with family, showing love, support, and respect for the people that were always in your corner, that, to me, took the cake. And in that moment, sitting with my dad, who is a Yankees fan, I was like, I don't care what you say. What Freddie just did for his father, no matter who you're a fan of, that's a beautiful moment. And I'm very happy for Freddie, and I'm very happy for his family, and I'm happy for his dad.
Okay, that's good. That's good. You know, the catch that Aaron Judge made as defense, first of all, I didn't think he could get there, but he's like a big gazelle. He's got huge strides. And if you're not 6'7", you don't make that catch. And who knows what would have happened. But he is 6'7". He jumped enough to get the ball. So if you're a really quick, small center fielder out there, you don't make that play because a big man makes a play, not a little man. I'm happy for the Dodgers. I'm happy for the Yankees. I want to see what's going to happen in the offseason. I think that Juan Soto is probably going to he's going to be the best free agent out there. And unfortunately for him and his agent, he's going to have 1 million offers. And he said he wants to listen to every one of them. So if he wants to listen to them, then the Yankees can come back with something. Maybe that the 1, 2, 3 in the lineup will stay the same with Torres and Soto and Judge. Maybe move Stanton back to 5, get another hitter to 4. That's the reality of the situation when it comes to the Yankees. The Yankees certainly can always use pitching. Everyone can use pitching. And if you don't have an organization like the Dodgers, where they're so professional and their farm system is so deep, and the players that they can get to come play for Los Angeles for less money than they would have got somewhere, it gives a big kudos to Friedman and his crew that puts these teams together. And that's the way it is. I mean, Aaron Boone, I hope the people don't criticize him now. I mean, he's not out there. He's done playing the game, folks. He played the game for many years. He played it very well. Okay, he did not make those errors out there. His players did. As a manager, you can only put your players in right positions to make the plays, and also the pitchers. You put them in situations where most of the time they can excel. Aaron Boone did a good job managing. I hope the powers that be leave him alone. Don't chastise him because he couldn't win another series. Just say that, well, the Dodgers were a better team, they had better pitching, and he didn't make any errors. I mean, come on. You got to say it like it is. So I'm looking forward to next year already, Daniel.
Yeah. Excited for it. I know Jerry's looking forward to it. March 27th, he said. He's already ready for his Phillies to be back out there doing their thing. I do want to let people know we always put polls up on X, the former Twitter, at CallDT. That's CALLDT. So make sure you follow me and answer our polls throughout the year. The polls I just put up this morning. Do you want the New York Yankees to keep Juan Soto? Right now, the early polling is 50-50. 50% of you want Juan Soto to stay a Yankee. The other 50% don't want to see him in pinstripes. Interesting. My other one was, do you want the New York Yankees to be managed by Aaron Boone in 2025? 80% of you said no. 20% of you said yes. PJ, any thoughts on people out there in these polls? 50-50 on if they want to keep Soto, and 80-20 they want to get rid of Aaron Boone.
Well, they don't know the game of baseball very well then, because Aaron Boone is a hell of a manager. He does a good job. Period. He had some pitching hiccups, but as a manager, you got to figure it out. He won 94 games this year. Nothing wrong with that. The Orioles were the better team in his division for most of the year, but they found a way to beat him, and they found a way to win a division. So I don't like that. At best, he should be 50-50, but 80-20 going the wrong way, no, is wrong. Look, Juan Soto is kind of a hot dog. When he hits home runs, he does his little dance around the bases, and people don't want to see that. The other team don't want to see that. The winner has been beaten a few times. Also, he's too argumentative and demonstrative at the plate. He's always looking at the pitcher, squatting down, thinking some good pitch. The umpire looks at that. He doesn't like that stuff either. If you start arguing with the umpire, you're going to lose, because a couple of those borderline calls that were balls before are going to be called strikes because you're acting like a jerk up there. The only reason that the people don't want him there is because he's such a little bit of a hot dog. You can't show up the umpire. That's the last thing you do when you're at a plate, especially when you're in a World Series. Don't do that. Mind your manners. Swing into pitches you can think are strikes. If there's strikes and you miss, you sit down. If he's got an excellent eye, as I said before, he's got an excellent eye. Walks a lot. So that's for the 50-50. I think probably the people don't want him 50-50, probably because of the hot dog stuff. But he's a sensational player. He's only 26 years old, and I think he deserves the $400 million that he's going to get. I don't know if the Yankees will be able to do it, but I'm sure they're going to try. So kudos to him, and kudos to Aaron Boone and Davey Rappers for a well-played series.
Yeah, interesting. What's going to happen here with Juan Soto? He has the free agent market, but it will be very wide open for him. We'll see how much he condenses it down, and we'll see where they go from here. Aaron Boone, that's where we sit right now, folks. Do you want him to come back? What do you want from Aaron Boone? We know that Joe Torre did a bunch of great things, and people still attack that man. So we shall see. And Greg wants to see Juan Soto be a Met. We'll see what happens here. Does Juan Soto want to stay on the East Coast? Does he want to stay in the New York City area? Does he want to be in a borough, but a different borough? Does he want to go from the Bronx to Queens? We shall see what happens in that respect, or if he wants to go somewhere else. But it's going to be open. I'm sure the Yankees are going to make a play to keep him. The Yankees are really going to have to spend money on relief pitching, and they need to figure that out. Pitching and defense is where they need to focus. They have to have somebody that comes in the 5th inning, the 6th inning, the 8th inning, that's not their closer, that can handle an inning or two, an inning and a half, 2/3, or whatever it may be. They need to get better relievers, and that is something that if I'm Aaron Boone and I'm the Yankees organization, that is what I am focusing on right now. Getting better pitching, better relievers. You know, the starters, there's some good things that can come from those guys. Obviously, they did a good enough job when Garrett Cole was out, but Yankees relief was no threat to the Dodgers. And if you're not a threat to a team that you play in the World Series, then you need to figure that out, because it's not like the Dodgers aren't going to have guys back, and it's not like the Dodgers aren't every single season a perennial powerhouse team that can win at least 100 games. So the Yankees need to figure out their pitching. They need to figure out the rotation. Is Gleyber Torres, who's had an up-and-down career with the Yankees, is he going to stay there? So questions to be had as we head to the offseason, knowing that the baseball season always seems to swing back ever so quickly. So congratulations to the Los Angeles Dodgers on winning their championship, and the Los Angeles Dodgers getting this victory over the Yankees in a 7-game series, best of 7. They only needed 5. They got the victory 4-1, and now they are in a position where they have another World Series title. And so this is their first since 2020, and it is their 8th World Series title overall. So that's what they have now. They have 8. The Yankees have 27, more than any team in the history of any sport in America professionally. The Yankees have the most championships of anyone. This is now the 8th in franchise history for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Congratulations to them and to the entire team, and much appreciation and much respect for the work that they did, and much appreciation and much respect to Aaron Boone and the Yankees as well. For Dave Roberts, man played chess, and he checkmated, and congratulations to Dave Roberts. That congratulations should not go unknown to the front office of the Los Angeles Dodgers, to the fans of the Dodgers, and to the Dodgers alumni, to those proud Dodger family members. Congratulations to you, and to the entire lineup, and to everybody, whether you had a hit or not, whether you stopped that ball or it got past you. Everybody on that team played a role in them winning the World Series, and they should be honored. So congratulations to the Los Angeles Dodgers, your 2024 World Series champions, and congratulations to the New York Yankees for getting themselves back to a place that their fans believe they should be in every single season. With that being said, we're going to take a step aside for a fast break. PJ and I will come back to speak about college football and the NFL. We'll go from one field to the next. College football Week 9 recap. How did our picks do? We'll make our picks for Week 10, and then we'll get into the NFL Wk8 picks that we had. NFL Wk9, who are we going to go with? And the Jacksonville Jaguars, are they doing a fire sale? Are they getting rid of their veterans and getting ready to rebuild completely? We'll talk about that too. Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McInerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where He just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Brian and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Brian and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Brian's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Brian's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Here is a special message from Brian Bruno, owner of Servomation Refreshments Incorporated.
I grew up in the family business, had the experience of working for a national food service company with thousands of employees, and as much as I enjoyed the experience I had, there's something about, owning my own company and being able to change the things I saw wrong with the industry firsthand, which is why I moved back to my hometown in Canastota, New York to launch Servomation. It was back in 2007. When we first started the business in 2007, really you didn't find any machines with credit card readers. There's a lack of variety in machines. You got stuck with basically whatever the vending company wanted to sell that day. There's a lot of inefficiencies in the business, and those were all things that we saw as opportunities, both from a customer level to improve and from an operating level to be more efficient. We've really been at the forefront of introducing retail technology into our space. We were doing self-checkout back in 2009 before it really became a national phenomenon. The whole point of it isn't to just improve the customer experience. It's to make it feel more like a retail environment where people don't have to be afraid of what they're buying behind glass. They don't have to be afraid of not being able to see the ingredients of the packages. It was an easy transaction from that standpoint. If we were to reinvent something, we wanted to make sure what we were making looked and felt more like a deli and not like something that you would traditionally see in a vending machine. I was tired of hearing for years the customers say the wheel of death because the vending machine would circle around with the same tuna salad in it. What we wanted to do was it really change the perception of that food. So allowing customers to touch it, allowing customers to feel the weight of it, allowing customers to see the freshness of it, and also the variety of it really helps them change the perception and ultimately the value of what we bring to them. The point of differentiation you have to make is either in value or the quality. And I think on both of those fronts, Servomation has really, in large part, changed that value system for employees. So they no longer have to worry about bringing their food from home or having to leave their desk during the day and rush out to get back in time for their break to end. We're bringing something that they can count on in their break room every day, and they know it's going to be there, they know it's going to be fresh, and they don't have to worry about it being sold out or something that they don't enjoy. We've also heavily invested in flavored water machines, so you can get a glass of water with a fresh piece of fruit in it, along with bean to cup coffee machines. So there's not a day that goes by we're not surprised when we get customers that call us and say, we didn't know you could do all this. We're really lucky to have a strong group of dedicated employees. Most of our employees have been with us since inception. They're family to us, and people like doing business with people they like and trust. And I think the same thing goes for employees. In a day and an age where there's a lot of corporations that just look at an employee as a number and don't get to know them, that's just not the way I was raised or how I like to do business. So we're a little old-fashioned. We like getting close to our employees. We like knowing how we can help them. We like knowing how we can improve their lives, adjust their schedules, whatever it may be to help improve their quality of life. And we think in the end that makes for a happier employee. We're fortunate enough to have really grown over the last several years, and from Pennsylvania to Massachusetts to Connecticut, we really do have a strong connection, even though we're not in the rooms every day with these employees. There's not one single employee that we feel like we don't know, and certainly we know they can call us at any time, and they're definitely treated as family to us. I wake up every single day really excited to surprise our customers in a good way. The one thing I can tell you is I think that every one of our employees and every one of our customers will continue to be at the forefront of every decision we make.
Find out how Servomation can help you and your business by going to servomation.com. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
All right, you need to come out here and get yourself the Brooklyn Pickle. I was talking about this with one of my buddies. I was like, yo, there's no better sandwich in the state of New York than the Brooklyn Pickle. And now that I found out that they're going down to North Carolina, we are taking over your taste buds everywhere you are, wherever you're going to be. You need to get yourself out to the Brooklyn Pickle. Pinehurst, you just realized that you found yourself the best sandwich shop that you're ever going to have. This is a glorious moment. It's a blessing to your community. You're welcome. Brooklyn in the house, baby. Go over to the Brooklyn Pickle. You already know what it is.
You heard the man. Head to Brooklyn Pickle Pinehurst on 1788 Old Morgantown Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Appreciate you being here, hanging out with us every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We're here with Papa Joe this morning and every Thursday in the PJ Takeover. So happy to have PJ with us. And we're jumping right from one thing that we brought to you, which was the World Series conversation, going from that field to the other field, and that being college football. I got the board up, and so we're going to show you how we did here and how we fared in the college football world. So let's go ahead and bring that up here. We have Papa Joe's picks and my picks for college football week 9. And as we go through it, I will be circling or Xing out what we got right and what we got wrong. So let's take a look and start things off here. Louisville at Boston College. PJ picked Louisville. I picked BC. 31-27, a very close game. So PJ got it right. I got it wrong. Got Boston College wrong in that matchup. Then Boise State was another game that we both went through here. We picked Boise State, and I'm looking through to make sure that I got this one right here. The thing about the games that we have every single week is that there is so much going on around the country that I have to sift through this thing with a fine-tooth comb when I'm going through and checking how we fared in all of this. So Boise State in the Mountain West, they had the game against UNLV. They won 29-24, so we got that one correct. So the Boise State one is right. And then PJ and I made a decision to go USC's way and to pick USC in their matchup that they were going to take and win that game. And USC inside of the Big Ten now, which is still weird for me to say, but when we take a look at USC inside of the Big Ten, they've been ranked this season. They've been unranked this season. They've been all over the place. They've been in the top 10. They played against Rutgers. USC won the game 42-20. So PJ and I got that one correct. And then Notre Dame and Navy. PJ picked Notre Dame. Navy's got their first loss of the season. I got that one incorrect. Then we have Ole Ole, which is the wonderful Ole Miss, which I write on the screen as Ole. And Ole Miss, with the lane train, they got the victory over Oklahoma, who is now unranked, has been unranked, and they won that game at home. Ole Miss ranked 18th in the country. They won that game 26-14. So PJ and I got that one right. And then Oregon, who is the number 1 team in the nation right now, they took down 20-ranked Illinois 38-9. Who's their quarterback? Dylan Gabriel. Where was he before? UCF. That's right, baby. Maybe some people should pay attention to those schools. BYU went up against UCF. Speaking of UCF, and BYU won the game 37-24. PJ picked BYU. I thought UCF was going to bounce back. They did not, and so I got that one wrong. Fly Slamma Jamma Bama doing their thing. They blanked Missouri. Missouri has been ranked in the top 10 this season. They came into this game ranked 21. Alabama ranked 15th, and Alabama won the game 34-0. So that might get some people thinking, is this team for real when you're speaking about Missouri? Then as far as Texas goes, who was the number 1 team in the nation, they played Vanderbilt. For some reason, Vanderbilt, who was ranked 25th in the country, got knocked out of the rankings in this game, and I don't know why, because Texas, who some have considered to be the best team in the nation, and I definitely have at times considered them to be the best in the nation, they only won the game by 3, 27-24. So I think Vandy should get more respect for that, being that close in that matchup. If you respect Texas the way that you do, then you got to respect that Vanderbilt pushed them all the way to the brink there. That game was in Vanderbilt. So congratulations to the Longhorns for getting the victory. But Vandy's having themselves a good season, defeated Alabama earlier on in the season. Miami took down Florida State 36-14. So PJ and I got that one right as well. Texas A&M FXU is having themselves a bad season. Texas A&M won 38-23 against LSU. So PJ and I got that one correct. SMU was able to handle Duke in overtime 28-27. I told y'all SMU was a team you got to look out for, and I also told y'all that the hiring that Duke had with Manny Diaz is one that you should pay attention to. We both picked Syracuse. I watched that game in New York City in a Syracuse bar. That was one of the worst performances I've ever seen by Syracuse in my lifetime. It was absolutely revoltingly disgusting. They turned the ball over 5 times. They could not even get out of the first half without turning it over again. Games happen that are not great. That was a not great game. That is a forgettable game. That was an awful game. It was a disgusting game. And I understand if some fans got sick to their stomach and had to stop eating during the game. PJ got almost he got, 5, 10. PJ went 12-1 this week. The only game he got wrong was Syracuse. PJ went 12-1. He definitely beat me. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I went 9-3. PJ went 12-1. PJ, what are your thoughts that in 13 games you went 12-1? The only one you got wrong was Syracuse.
It's a lot of luck, Daniel. You know that. But Syracuse, that was a terrible exhibition. I know your man threw for over 350 yards, but a lot of them went to the wrong guy. I always remember when someone goes through a game like this. I always remember Principal Parry used to say years ago when a quarterback throws the ball. He says, when a quarterback throws the ball, I don't like it because 2 out of the 3 options are bad. So that's why Vince Lombardi ran the ball so much with Jim Taylor and Paul Hornung.
Yeah, so PJ goes 12-1, I go 9-3, and we move on now to college football week 10 to make our picks for this week. Some games have already happened, believe it or not. There is football on every day. Between the NFL and college, there is football on every day. You don't believe me? Well, I'll tell you. So there's Thursday night NFL, there's Sunday NFL all day, and there's Monday night football. Well, the college football plays on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. There is not a day of the week without at least one football game. And the games that wrapped up on Tuesday, New Mexico State, who my buddy Mike Washington Jr. plays for, he's done some good things. He helped them to win a game a week ago. Mike Washington Jr. and his team, though, fell to FIU 34-13. And then Louisiana defeated Texas State. Sam Houston State defeated Louisiana Tech. And then Jacksonville State defeated Liberty. That was a big win for them. Liberty's been a good team over the years. And Western Kentucky defeated Kennesaw State in their matchup. There's one game tonight. It's Tulane at Charlotte on ESPN. And then Friday starts off November. Georgia State at UConn, South Florida at FAU, San Diego State at Boise State. PJ, I'm going to throw this one at you for Friday. South Florida and UCF have a rivalry. Now that they're not in the same conference, they may not be playing this rivalry game. They may not have this, they're not going to have it in conference. They may not have it out of conference either. South Florida and UCF, that rivalry may be done. They're trying to make one between South Florida and FAU. With UCF going to the Big 12, FAU came in from Conference USA to the American. This is Boca Raton versus Tampa. They're both in Southern Florida. So what are your thoughts? South Florida at FAU.
I like South Florida in this game.
PJ going with South Florida. FAU is at home and coached by Tom Herman. Got a lot of respect there. The team is 2-5 right now this season. And on the other side of it, with Alex Golish, another guy who I have a good relationship with and a lot of respect for, Golish has his team of South Florida at 3-4. Keep in mind, this team has pushed the Alabama Crimson Tide 2 years in a row. So PJ is going to go with South Florida, and I am also going to go with South Florida in this matchup. The next one we got, let's go ahead, South Florida. All right. The next one that we have going on here, PJ, is going to take us out of Friday and into Saturday. Ohio State and Penn State. This is the big noon game, and I would love to get your thoughts on this one, PJ. It is a massive game. Penn State is undefeated right now, and they'll be at Beaver Stadium, and Ohio State is 6-1. Who do you got?
Well, you know, with all the other pundits are saying, oh, this is the game of the decade, da-da-da-da-da-da. They forgot that Georgia and Alabama played a little while ago. Both of these teams can't play with Georgia. I'll tell you this, though. Ohio State's, I think, a little bit overrated this year. But Penn State looks like they can win every which way. They win nice, they win ugly, they win all sorts of ways. And I think this is probably a pick 'em game. The line says 3.5 for Ohio State. I can't see that. You know, this is. I don't care about either one of these teams, but I know that probably both of them are going to be in this championship series later on. So I'm going to have to get used to it. And with saying that, I'm going to say I like Penn State.
Yeah, Penn State to me, you know, they've had moments in recent history where it was like, okay, they got a lot of respect. They're in the Big Ten, so they're going to get ranked high. They're in the top 10, blah, blah, blah. They don't play anybody, but they're still going to get ranked high. And then they had down in that crunch time, it was like, show me what you got. Show me what you can do. Here they are again. They're undefeated. They're having themselves a good season, but James Franklin and the crew have to show what they can do in the high-octane situations. And I'm going to go with Penn State in this game. Penn State has come close to having really amazing seasons. This could be one of them. They got to win this game. If they win this game, they're going to make a massive case for themselves in the college football playoff. Duke at Miami. Manny Diaz returns to the place where he was a defensive coordinator, and for a short time, he was a head coach. What do you have for the Manny Diaz Bowl when Duke and Manny Diaz go to Miami?
Oh, Miami just is nasty, let me tell you. They play nasty. After watching that FSU game, I don't think Duke has much of a chance there.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Miami as well in this matchup. Duke has done some good things. They pushed a good SMU team to overtime, like I said last week, 28-27. But I'm going to go with MIA, and the Hurricanes are anything but missing in action. I'm going to go with them in this one to win their matchup. The next one that we have up here, PJ, that we're going to hit is going to be Air Force at Army. Army was off this past week. Army comes into this game undefeated at 7-0. They're one of the few undefeateds left of the 130 plus in Division 1A FBS football. So where do you stand when Army is at home playing up against Air Force? They're going to be at Michie Stadium in West Point, New York. Air Force comes in 1-6. Army is 7-0.
Well, Army reminds me of the days of 3 yards in a cloud of dust, because all they do is run the ball. They're probably going to get 400 yards rushing on this poor Air Force team. It won't be a competitive contest yet.
Yeah, I'm going with Army as well in this matchup. They're making a case for themselves nationally. Navy's worked to make a case for themselves as well. Unfortunately, they struggled last week against Notre Dame, but we'll see how Navy bounces back against a good Rice team. Army in this game against Air Force, we're both going to go with the Black Knights. From there, Vanderbilt at Auburn. Neither one of these teams in the SEC is ranked. Vanderbilt has not had themselves a bad season by any stretch of the imagination. I don't know where this is one of those teams. Now, I'll put it to you like this. If Vanderbilt lost to Texas and Vanderbilt was in the Big Ten, they'd still be in the top 25. And so that's something that I look to. I think Vanderbilt deserves some more national respect for the work that they've done this season up to this point. And yet they're unranked. So Vanderbilt at Auburn, do they get the victory or does it go to Auburn?
After watching Vanderbilt and Alabama play, and then watching Texas and Alabama, and Vanderbilt is no slouch, I tell you. When they can play two teams like that tough, damn. But they're going into Auburn, who's also had a lot of problems. Between Auburn and Arkansas and some other teams in the SEC, the coaches are on the hot seats. I don't think Vanderbilt's coach is on the hot seat. I think he needs a raise after what he's doing this year. I like Vanderbilt to upset Auburn.
Yeah, Auburn this season, they come into the game with a record of 3-5. And on the other side of this matchup, Vanderbilt comes in 5-3. I'm going to lean on Vandy's side as well and go with Vanderbilt to get the victory in this game. I got Vanderbilt taking it, the Commodores getting the victory here moving forward. The next one that we have up for you, PJ, is going to be Florida, Georgia is what I'll go to next for you, PJ. The game is going to be at Everbank Stadium in Jacksonville. Probably be Jacksonville, they've had a very rough season. They've done everything in their power to lose. So Georgia is ranked 2 in the nation. Florida is unranked. Do your Gators do anything? The lowest ticket's $55. So still, not a bad price. What do you think, PJ?
Well, my Gators are woke up a little bit. I think that all the pundits and the Bull Gators that were looking to oust Billy Napier out have sort of calmed their voices a little bit. They understand that that he is a good coach. He may be overwhelmed right now, although his almost 3 years is up, and I don't know if he's going to get a raise. But there's something, a little sidelight here. A couple of weeks ago, the defensive captain and a couple of his defensive players, they went in to talk to Coach Napier, and they said, "Listen, Coach," he says, "listen, we got too many signals on defense. We're losing signals. We just can't calibrate." He says, "Can you make it simpler? We're playing our hearts out. We just got to be in the right position." So Napier says, "You know what? You guys got a point." So he tells the defensive coordinator to do it easier for these guys. And since then, they've been a balls to the wall team. I don't know if they got that kind of stuff with Georgia, but these two teams just don't like each other. And Florida's got the freshman quarterback, and he's going to be under a severe rush from Georgia. Carson Beck for Georgia is just, he's probably in the lead, other than the Boise State back to win the Heisman Trophy. Sensational quarterback. Either way, Georgia, they just keep spinning out these quarterbacks every year or every other year. They have these guys come up, and they're older guys too. Daniel, I have to go with Florida because it's my school. I have to. That's my alma mater, one of them, and I got to do it.
All right, PJ, going with the Florida Gators. I'm going with them Georgia Bulldogs, but I think Georgia. Listen, they gotta do some work. They're number 2 in the country, but I feel like they're kind of forgotten in with the Oregon Texas talk. So in the Penn State talk. So we'll see how Georgia does in this game. But I'm gonna pick them Bulldogs. If the Gators win, I'm gonna be happy for PJ. But I gotta go with the Bulldogs at Everbank Stadium in this neutral field matchup that they have here. The next one, Indiana.
That's a smart pick. I mean, certainly the smart pick is Georgia, but I can't do that.
So that being said, we're going to go on to the next game. Indiana is undefeated. They're one of the undefeated teams in the country. They are at the top of the Big Ten. They are 8-0. Michigan State is 4-4. Indiana's at Michigan State. Does Michigan State play spoiler, or does Indiana get another win?
I've tried to find out some information about Indiana. I just, first of all, congratulate them on a undefeated season so far. But they are probably one of the worst undefeated teams I've ever seen. I don't like them. Don't like what they play. And I think that Michigan State being at home, I think they got enough to upset them. Of course, I could be eating crow next week at this time, but I think Michigan State should win.
Well, and I'll tell it to you like this. Indiana is 8-0 and ranked in the top 25, but they've not played a single ranked team this season. They beat FIU, they beat Western Illinois, they beat UCLA, Charlotte, Maryland, Northwestern, Nebraska, and Washington. Was Nebraska ranked at a time? Yeah. Was Washington ranked at a time? Yeah. But none of these teams ranked at the time of play, and so they are 8-0 against non-top 25 teams. So Michigan State very well could try and spoil this thing at home. And I'm going to go with Indiana to go to 9-0. Keep in mind, Michigan State is also unranked. So even if even if Indiana beats Michigan State, they still will not, they'll be 9 games into a 12-game regular season without a single win against a ranked team. Keep in mind, they haven't had to go up against Oregon. They haven't had to go up against Penn State. They haven't had to go up against Ohio State. So there's something to be said to that effect. The next game we have up, PJ, I'm bringing up because you're not going to believe how cheap these tickets are. You are not going to believe me by any stretch of the imagination. These tickets are cheaper than a gallon of gas in some areas. Kansas State at Houston at the TDECU Stadium that I have been to in Houston, Texas. The tickets are $3. Kansas State, and Kansas State is ranked. Kansas State at Houston, what do you got?
Well, Kansas State runs the ball well. They got a stout defense. There's not going to be a lot of people in the stands, obviously, for Houston. $2 or $3 a ticket is embarrassing. I like Kansas State here.
Yeah, I got to go with Kansas State. I can't believe these tickets are that cheap, but you know what? I mean, hey, if you could find something cheap these days, that's good stuff. So, I mean, these tickets might actually be cheaper than like 12 eggs. I mean, eggs right now are $2.15 in Syracuse. I don't know where they are in other areas, but thank goodness they finally went down again. I walked by one day and they were back up to like $4. I said, y'all can go pound salt, not buying no eggs today. And then now they're $2.15, so I bought some. I don't know why that ridiculousness is happening. Some of these other games I want to get to before the NFL. Louisville, who's had themselves somewhat of a good season at times. Some people thought that Louisville was going to get in the college football playoff early on. Some people also thought that after Clemson lost to Georgia, their season was over and there's no possible way that the Tigers can make it. I believe somebody picked Clemson to win the ACC. I could be totally wrong, but I think his name is the same as mine. The Clemson Tigers are currently in a position, they're ranked, well, it depends on which ranking you look at. They're ranked 8th in one poll and 11 in the other poll. But as we look at the Clemson Tigers, after losing to Georgia in Mercedes-Benz Stadium on a neutral field, which is the home of the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. They lost that game 34-3. Since then, they have not played a ranked team, so that needs to be noted because they haven't played a ranked team. They have blown out App State. They scored almost 60 on NC State. They blew out Stanford. They beat Florida State by 16, and they just blew out Wake Forest and then won by 17 over Virginia. They've won every single game since losing to Georgia. They've won every single game by double digits. Now they're playing a Louisville team who's been pretty good at times this season. I mean, Louisville's 5-3 overall. They're 3-2 in the ACC. But there were people talking about Louisville and what Louisville could be nationally this year. What do you have, PJ? Louisville at Clemson.
Well, the Louisville-Miami game was a great game to watch. I was impressed the way Louisville scored at will, just about. But Clemson, they're not going to do that in this game. Clemson, I don't care where Clemson is ranked. Clemson always has a defense. And after the Georgia game, after Georgia game, I think Coach Debo said, fellas, we got to suck it up here a little bit. Let's start playing a little defense. Since then, they've been killers. This one, I think they're going to shut Louisville down, period.
Yeah, I'm going with Clemson as well in this matchup. The game's in one of the Death Valleys, and LSU also calls their home Death Valley. So Clemson, to me, going to get this victory and nationally continue to rise. They should be in the top 10 in both polls, but they're 8-1 and 11 in the other. So we'll see where it goes from here. If they beat Louisville, I think they should still rise. The next, I'm going to go to just a couple more games, sifting through here, making sure we didn't miss one. How about this one, P? Well, I got 3 games for you. So Kentucky at Tennessee. Kentucky's unranked, but they love to play spoiler. Tennessee's back in the top 10.
Kentucky's tough. They play Georgia good, great defense, play Florida well. But Tennessee, I think, is rising to the occasion. I think they're one of the best teams in the SEC, so we'll see where it goes. I like Tennessee.
Yeah, Tennessee being at home in this matchup, and their head coach, Josh Heupel, someone I got to know when he was at UCF. I like Tennessee in this game, and I like Tennessee right now nationally, their hopes. So I'm going to go with Tennessee in the game. Our second to last game is going to be 2 ranked teams. Pittsburgh at SMU. Pittsburgh is undefeated at 7-0, and SMU in their first season as an ACC school coming from the American Athletic, SMU is 7-1. So between the two of them, they're 14-1. The game's going to be in Dallas, Texas at SMU. What do you got?
Well, this is a tough game. I think probably SMU at home is probably the smart play. Both of these teams are really solid defenses.
So
I like them.
PJ going with SMU. I want to lean SMU here, but I think Pitt is just too much. And what I saw them do to Syracuse was awful. It was absolutely awful. So I got to go. Oh, it was awful. It was there's a lot of things that can be said about that game. That game was gross. So I mean, Syracuse struggles against Pitt. They're third. They have 33 wins, 44 losses, and a tie against them. It was their 80th game against each other. They didn't come up. They didn't show up to play in this game. Or I'm sorry, they have 3 ties against them. It was just a bad game. They haven't won in Pittsburgh since October 13th of 2001. It has been 23 years since they've won in Pittsburgh, and they play each other every year. So sometimes in Syracuse, sometimes neutral, sometimes Pitt. They haven't won in Pitt since I was a junior in high school, which is gross. And I'm going to ask you, PJ, does Syracuse bounce back? That's the last game I have for you. Virginia Tech is coming into town. Syracuse has not been home for a month. They spent all of October away from the Dome. It felt like the football season ended. Now they're back. Syracuse is coming into the Dome against a Virginia Tech Hokies team that's 5-3, and Syracuse is 5-2. Virginia Tech's 3-1 in the conference. Syracuse is 2-2 in the conference. Syracuse could have been in the top 4 if they had beaten Pittsburgh and SMU took care of Duke, which did happen. But unfortunately, Syracuse didn't hold up their end of the bargain and do what they needed to do. So they could have been going into this game the fourth best team in the ACC out of 17. Instead, they go into this game as the eighth team in the ACC, and 3 spots ahead of them is Virginia Tech. Does Virginia Tech win, or does Syracuse win?
Well, you're going to throw up a lot of yards. You're probably going to score a lot of touchdowns. And Virginia Tech, I don't think, has got the kind of defense that Pitt had. The Pitt game was awful. I like Syracuse here. I think they'll bounce back. I think your coach Fran here is going to have a good selling job on his point this weekend. I think he's going to have to, say, boys, hey, forget that game. That was last week. This is a new page, a new team, new threat. I like Syracuse.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Syracuse in this matchup. I think that they'll bounce back. I think that they can score, and I think they can get themselves up to 30 points. I don't know if you know this, PJ, but no quarterback in Syracuse history has ever gone 4 consecutive games throwing for at least 300 yards. No quarterback in Syracuse, not Donovan McNabb, not Marvin Graves, not Eric Dungy, nobody. Nobody has, not Ryan Nassib, no one not Don McPherson, no one in the history of Syracuse football at quarterback has ever thrown for at least 300 yards in 4 straight games. Kyle McCord did it in his first 4 games at Syracuse. He's only played 7 games at Syracuse, and despite the atrocious loss to Pittsburgh, he still threw for 300 this past week. So Kyle McCord set the record of 4 consecutive games of at least 300 passing yards. He now has the record of 7 straight. He has never been in Syracuse Orange and not thrown for 300 yards. So just to let everybody know, the streak was never 4, then it was never 5, it was never 6, now it's 7. Kyle McCord has thrown for 300 or more passing yards in every single game he's ever played at Syracuse.
That's a great stat. And look, he looks tall and strong in the park. He got some athletes outside, I guess. I mean, I haven't seen too much of Syracuse, but I like him in this game. I really do.
Yeah, I'm going with Syracuse to bring up the ruckus. I will be there. The games, there's so many things happening this Saturday at noon. So many things happening this Saturday at noon, but your boy's going to be up at the Dome, and I will hopefully see you there. If you see me there, say what's up, say hello. It was cool walking through the Dome a few weeks ago, and a total stranger, I have no idea who this guy was. He looked at me, he looked at my badge, he said, "Let's go, DT." And I said, "All right, man, let's do it." So good stuff coming up at the Dome. PJ and I are going to take our last step aside here on the broadcast. When we come back, P-Jizzle for Shizzle, my nizzle, will bring us into the NFL Week 8. Then we'll make our picks for Week 9. We will round out the show by Papa Joe and I woofing about the Jaguars right after this.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. Happy to be here with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and I thank you for hanging out with us and being here with us on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. It is awesome. It is a privilege. It is an honor. PJ and I were on, when we were on break here, I was talking to him, and he's like, we get to set our clocks back this week. I was like, this is one of my favorite times of the year is when we get to set our clocks back. And people say, why, Dan? Why is that a favorite time for you? Well, I'll tell you why. Your boy doesn't sleep that much. So when I get to get an extra hour, it makes me feel like I'm getting something back. So I'm very excited to be able to have that time and to be able to gain back some much needed rest that I have most assuredly lost during this year at some point. So PJ and I are going to jump to the NFL right now and make our picks in the world of the NFL. And we're going to do that here with you where sports meets. Well, we're going to go and take a look at how we did with our picks, and then we're going to make our new picks. So let me bring up that for you right now. And so looking at NFL Week 8 and what PJ and I decided upon in Week 8, this is how the scores went down. This is how it shook out, and we'll take a look at our record. Keep in mind, PJ went 12-1 this past week in college football, and I went 9-3. So we both had good records, but PJ just absolutely wreaked havoc on me. So the next one that we have here, to go to NFL Week 8, PJ picked the Rams, and I picked Minnesota. The Rams got the victory 30-20. PJ got that right. I got it wrong. In the next game, Philadelphia and Cincinnati, Philly got the win over Cincinnati. PJ got that one right. I got it wrong. I see a pattern here. Then Cleveland against Baltimore. Baltimore lost, so PJ and I both got that one wrong. Detroit Rock City just manhandled Tennessee. Tennessee is having a bad season, and so are the Jaguars. The AFC South. Yeah, they do need Mike Vrabel. That was a stupid decision that they made if there ever was one. Detroit wins the game 52-14. The Detroit Lions, I'm liking them more and more. Miami loses by 1 point to Arizona, 28-27. So PJ and I got that wrong. Tua Tagovailoa, in the return that he had to the NFL, some people thinking he should not play anymore because of how many times he's been hit in the head and whatnot. But Tua's back. He did have a touchdown in the game, and the offense is better when he's there. But what I want is for him to live a long and prosperous and healthy and happy life, and I want him to be safe. So if he can do that and play in the NFL, I'm okay with it. But if the NFL is going to hinder his ability to have a healthy life, then I'm not okay with it. Because ultimately, you got to take care of your health and your wellness and your well-being above all. And if you're not doing that, you ain't doing anything good. The Jets are so bad that they lost to the Patriots. So PJ and I got that one wrong. Jets are just having an atrocious season. Tampa in their matchup with Atlanta, they lost the game 31-26. I don't know why I didn't pick Atlanta in that game. Something inside of me was picking Atlanta, but I didn't put it on the board, so it doesn't count. PJ picked Jacksonville. I knew better. I picked Green Bay. So the Green Bay Packers win that. Jacksonville's just been a haphazard team this year. Houston takes down Indianapolis. And not only did Houston take down Indianapolis for the second time this season in division in the AFC South, but Houston's win over Indianapolis ends with Anthony Richardson being benched for Joe Mother freaking Flacco. I backed Joe Flacco when he came into the NFL. I told you I believed in him when he came out of the University of Delaware Blue Hens. I told you I believed in him when he was coming into the NFL. And then he went to the postseason. Joe Flacco made me right. So thank you, Joe. But trusty Joe, that man keeps coming back and doing his thing and making it happen. He's done a ton of great work, and I got to give him a lot of credit. When he is on your team is better, and I got to show him some love for that. So there's one Joe out there talking about garbage, and there's another Joe out there that's only doing good things. Shout out to Joe Flacco and the team and what they're going to be with Indianapolis. I think Indy's going to have a little spark with him being there. Houston wins the game. We got it right. The Chargers against the Saints. We both picked the Chargers. The Saints had an awful game. Derek Carr was injured. Buffalo got a victory over Seattle in Seattle, 31-10. Them Buffalo Bills, y'all been sleeping on them. They doing all right. Let's see if they can keep it going. Denver at Carolina. What did I tell you? Jaden Daniels would have the best rookie season of the 2024 rookie quarterbacks. And the person I picked after him, Bo Nix. And Bo Nix and his team are in a really good place right now. We both picked Denver. Denver won the game over Carolina, and the Denver Broncos currently, folks, are 5-3 on the season. Who would have thunk it? So shout out to Bo Nix. The next game that we had up here was Kansas City against the Raiders. So the Raiders lose that game. Basically, if anybody plays Kansas City, you got to remember you're playing the Chiefs and you're playing the refs. So Kansas City wins the game, gets that victory. Not every time, but Kansas City gets Michael Jordan calls. We all know that. Washington against Chicago. Washington wins the game. We both picked Washington, so we got that one right. And then San Francisco over the Cowboys are so bad that they asked Zeke Elliott to come back to their team. That's how bad they were going into the season. They were so bad that they were like, you know my ex-girlfriend? Well, I'm lonely. So I'm going to call her, even though we fought, even though we argue, even though she's toxic, I got to have her back in my life because I don't want to be by myself. Jerry Jones, for the love of everything good in this world, stop making decisions by yourself. You're the president of operation. You're the president of player development. You're the head of the team. You're the general manager. You have not allowed yourself to be checked or balanced in any way, shape, or form. I will tell you this, Jerry, and I will say it today, and I'll say it tomorrow, and I'll say it the next day. If you just let coaches coach and you let teams build and you didn't try to control everything, Jimmy Johnson would have won more Super Bowls. He would have stayed there with you. Now, this team can't figure it out. Their running game, suspect. CeeDee Lamb is the bright spot on this whole team. Dak Prescott's up and down. Zeke Elliott wears half shirts that make, he must shop at Hollister in the female section. I have no idea. But it just doesn't make any sense to me that this Dallas Cowboys team, with the talent that they've had and the decisions they could have made, Derrick Henry could have been a Dallas Cowboy, but you went and brought Zeke Elliott back to your team after letting him go. The Dallas Cowboys make no sense. They make no sense. They don't make 50 cents. If the Dallas Cowboys were a candy bar that cost 52 cents and you gave them $1, they wouldn't even give you the change back because they don't make any sense. Nothing makes sense in Dallas. They lost the game. No one's surprised. PJ and I picked San Francisco, and we picked Pittsburgh against the Giants, so we got that one correct as well. PJ, let's see how many we got right. So PJ got 1, 2, 3 and 1, 3 and 2, 3 and 3, 3 and 4, 3 and 5. 4-5, 5-5, 6-5, 7-5, 8, 9, 10, 11-5 goes PJ in this. And I went, let's see how I did. Oh, so I went 1-5, 1-6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So PJ beat me by 1 game. I went 10-6. He went 11-5. PJ, any thoughts about Week 8 before we get into Week 9? Would you like to go off about the Dallas Cowboys?
Well, everything you said is correct about Jerry Jones. He's a freaking idiot. Now he brings back Dalvin Cook, who his yards are way past him. He can't run for anything. Jerry Jones passed up on Derrick Henry. How smart is that? It's right. You know who looks really bad in this whole deal is Mike McCarthy. And he's a good coach. He's a good coach. I don't think if he were to be offered an extension, I'm not sure he would take it. Besides, he's probably going to get fired, or they're not going to give him an extension. Either way, it's terrible. Zach Prescott, there's a good combination of football being played with Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. Those guys are unstoppable, but the rest of the team sucks. So let's get on to the new ones.
Yeah, so it was just a bad showing. Ugly, strange, gross. Nobody likes it. So, well, I mean, if you're not a Cowboys fan, you probably like it. That's probably how you feel. But that was such a lame game, and it wasn't good by any stretch of the imagination. Let's go to Week 9 of the NFL. There's a game tonight. That game is considered New York, but they play in New Jersey, East Rutherford, New Jersey, to be exact. Your New York Jets are on Thursday Night Football. See, when Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback, they give you a lot of primetime games. But the Jets, they probably don't like it because they got to play Thursday, they got to play early this week. They got to play on the Monday nights and the Sunday nights and all that. They had to start off the season in San Francisco. Not fun. What are your thoughts, PJ? Houston is going to the Jets. And I'm going to say Houston doesn't have a problem. Tonight, I think Houston is going to be the problem. What do you have?
I think so, too. I think Aaron Rodgers just ought to look across the line of scrimmage and watch this kid play ball. C.J. Stroud has really impressed me since he come on. He's certainly much better than I ever thought he would be. Last year, earning the Rookie of the Year. And he's just that good. If they leave him sit back there for 4 seconds, he's going to kill you. And I think he's going to win it.
Yeah, I got to go with C.J. Stroud in this game. I mean, C.J. Stroud to me is just – he's going to create too much of a problem. You know, the Houston Texans – has Houston, you know, not having Nico Collins, does that affect them? Yeah, it does. But then you see Tank Dell step it up. And Houston, I mean, they got a good coach. DeMeco Ryans is a good coach. I like C.J. Stroud, reigning offensive rookie of the year. Will Anderson Jr., reigning defensive rookie of the year. There's a lot of good to be had with Houston. And the Jets struggle to score. Houston doesn't. So I'm going with the Houston Texans in this game to get a victory. And I got a bunch of C.J. Stroud rookie cards, and I've also sold a bunch. So if any of you would like some, hit me up because I got plenty, and I'm willing to sell them. So next game that we have up, Dallas at Atlanta. Hot Atlanta against the team I just flipped out about. What do you got, PJ?
I think Atlanta wins this game. I think Kirk Cousins is going to have a field day.
Yeah, I got to go with the I got to go with the Atlanta Falcons in this matchup to get the victory. I don't consider Dallas to be a threat to many, and Kirk Cousins he's a good quarterback, and I have a lot of respect for him. So I'm going to go with I keep saying I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys. I'm going with the Atlanta Falcons in this one. ATL living, and I would make a reference to a rap song, but PJ won't know it. So he listens to his classical and his jazz, and I respect it, and I do as well. But Freak Nasty is what I'm given, and that is the line from the Atlanta. What is it? Yeah, so I forgot exactly how the line goes, but I think it's Atlanta's where I'm living. Freak Nasty is what I'm given, but I'm going with the Atlanta Falcons in this matchup to get the victory against the Cowboys. Miami at Buffalo, PJ.
kind of hard to stop Josh Allen in his own backyard. I think he looks much the best here.
Yeah, I got to go with the Buffalo Bills in this one. I think Tua definitely gives fantasy value to Tyreek Hill and to Devon Achane and to Raheem Mostert and to Jalen Waddle. But I got to go with Buffalo in the matchup. The Vegas Raiders. Them Raiders. The Raiders going up against the Cincinnati Bengals. What do you have, PJ? The game is in Cincinnati.
Well, the Cincinnati Bengals. But that's how Joe Burrow got here. Joe Burrow wins this game.
Yeah, I got it. I don't know why. I like calling them the Bungles. I just love doing it. So Cincinnati, we're going with Cincinnati on PJ's side, and we're going to be going with Cincinnati on my side as well to get the victory. Cincinnati gets the win over the Raiders. And the Los Angeles Chargers at the Cleveland Browns. And who was the Cleveland Browns quarterback last week when they beat the Baltimore Ravens in Cleveland? Mother freaking crab legs having, Florida State Seminole chanting, the man, the myth, the legend, and Papa Joe's brother from another mother, famous Jameis Winston got a victory. He thanked God, which I appreciate more than anything else. Famous Jameis Winston gets the victory, his first as a starter for the Cleveland Browns with Deshaun Watson out. So my question to PJ is, does famous Jameis Winston, your best friend, your brother from another mother, your meatball number 3, does he get a victory over the Chargers?
No.
Nice. Nice. PJ, I set him up for that whole thing, and PJ said no. So we're going with PJ is going with the Chargers in this matchup against the Cleveland Browns on the road. I'm also going to go with the Chargers, but famous Jameis getting a victory. I was happy for him with that. I was also really, really excited and thankful and grateful that he talked about God, because as Jesus says in the Bible, if you forget me in front of the world, I will forget you in front of my Father. And Jaden Daniels, CJ Stroud, Jameis Winston have all taken time to talk about God this season internationally. And that, to me, is the true victory. I'm going with the Chargers. If Jameis wins, I'm going to be happy, and I'm going to have something fun to say next week either way. New England at Tennessee. Both of these teams are bad, PJ. What do you got?
Tennessee's a better team than New England. I don't know if Drake May's going to be the answer up there, but they need to play him more. If they're going to give him the ball, let him start 3 or 4 games and let him play. Let him play, okay, but I like Tennessee in the game.
Yeah, Tennessee. The issue with Tennessee is Will Levis is hurt, so PJ is going to go with Tennessee. I'm actually going to go with New England. Tennessee's at home. I'm going to go with Tennessee. I can't. New England is not great. I mean, they're both not good, and their tickets are still $41 lowest price. Crazy. That Houston game, $3. Still can't get over it. Washington at the New York Giants, PJ. That means that this week, MetLife Stadium is going to be busy because the Jets are playing in MetLife on Thursday. The Giants are playing in MetLife on Sunday. Washington is coming to town. Jaden Daniels has the Washington Commanders feeling awesome. They're leading the NFC East, and they're 6-2. What do you got?
Well, I like the Jake Daniels. He's playing great. Daniel Jones woke up a little bit last week for New York. This could be an aerial battle. But overall, I think Washington's a better team, and I think Jaden Daniels is a better quarterback.
Yeah, I got to go with Jaden Daniels. Like I said, I made that prediction. He would have the best season of all 2024 rookie quarterbacks, and he has definitely had a great one up to this point. He said, playing last week injured, that he wouldn't be there without God, and Jaden Daniels had a Hail Mary end the game. So he talks about God and ends with a Hail Mary. Nothing better. Love it. Washington on the road. New Orleans at Carolina. New Orleans may not have Derek Carr back. Carolina doesn't have much of anything. What do you have, PJ?
Oh, this is a terrible game. And if you look along the line, the tickets are only $22. $22 to look at an NFL football game. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with this game. I suppose I got to say something. Maybe Spencer Rattler's a better quarterback from New England than I think he is. He better be, because I'm going to pick him. New Orleans.
Yeah, New Orleans at Carolina. This game is very yuck. There's a lot of yuck with this game, but I'm going to have to go with New Orleans as well over Carolina, just because Carolina is that bad. So I got to go with New Orleans in this game. Tough. That's not a pretty game to watch, I wouldn't imagine. Denver at Baltimore. Both of these teams come in with the same record, PJ. You may not believe it, but Denver's 5-3, and so is Baltimore. Who wins the game in Maryland?
Baltimore's a much better 5-3 team, that's for sure. Bo Nix is going to grow up a little bit in this game. He's going to watch Lamar Jackson run all over the place. I don't know how you stop. I don't know how the Baltimore lost last week to Cleveland. I don't know how they did that. They have arguably the best running quarterback ever, probably. One of the best running backs, period. How do you lose that game? Well, they don't lose this game.
Yeah, I think, as much as I respect Denver and what they're doing and Bo Nix and the crew and their defense, I got to go with Baltimore. Baltimore's got more firepower. They got Derrick Henry. He's tough to beat. Next one up, Jacksonville at Philadelphia. Teal versus Forest Green. What do you got, PJ?
This is pitiful. This is pitiful what this team has done to us this year, Daniel. Absolutely pitiful. Now they trade away their other bookend tackles. 3 years ago, we were talking about bookends tackles. Cam Robinson and Juwan Taylor going to be there for 10 years for the Jacksonville Jaguars to protect Trevor Lawrence. And what happens? Both of them were gone because both of them are already in a decline. So they weren't going to be here 10 years anyway. Jacksonville, I don't think Jacksonville could stay. They don't. I don't see them staying in this game. They'll try, but Philly's just a little too tough.
Yeah, the Jacksonville Jaguars, Juwan Taylor, they let him go out of his rookie contract. They don't re-sign him. He goes to Kansas City, wins a Super Bowl, and now Cam Robinson has been traded away. Their starting left tackle that they put so much time, energy, and effort into. To me, it's telling me that the Jacksonville Jaguars are getting set to implode the whole. I mean, essentially, the Jaguars are, while they're renovating their stadium, they're going to be renovating their team. That's how I look at it. There's going to be a lot of rubble, a lot of sawdust, and we'll see if it looks pretty when all's said and done. I'm going with Philadelphia in this game. The next one that we have, PJ, is Chicago at Arizona. These tickets in Arizona, Glendale, Arizona at State Farm Stadium, $151 is the cheapest ticket you can find. That means that you could either go to the Arizona-Chicago game one time, or you can go to the Kansas State at Houston College game 50 times. What do you have for this one?
I like Chicago, going cross-country like this.
PJ going with Chicago. I'm going with Arizona. Caleb Williams has done some things. He obviously has talent, but Arizona's been a team that has had some positive surprises at times, and I think they might surprise some people, and then maybe not surprise you. I mean, I think they're playing a rookie quarterback, but I think Arizona, listen, they got the talent to win the game. They just have to put it together consistently. Detroit at Green Bay, PJ. What's going to happen in this one?
I don't think you slow down Detroit. Last week I was phased in and out of the game. And before I knew it, in the second quarter they had scored 35 points, and Jared Goff hadn't even thrown anything yet. So they are a team to reckon with. They're playing like their coach used to play. Coach Campbell was a terror, and that's what Denver. That's what Detroit is doing. I like Detroit. Yeah,
Detroit. Mary, don't listen. I'm going with Detroit in this game. I know MT is a big Green Bay fan, but she wanted to see the the Jaguars win last week against Green Bay because she's like, they need to win more than Green Bay does. Detroit, they're trying to push toward the Super Bowl. They got a lot on their mind, and I think they're going to get this one. Jordan Love got banged up too, so Malik Willis might have to be in there. God willing, Jordan Love's going to be okay, and everybody else that needs a prayer, by the grace of God, I hope you have your prayers be answered and you're okay and you stay okay. Los Angeles Rams at Seattle. Kyron Williams, one of the greatest things to come out of Notre Dame in recent history. He has been a phenom at running back for the Rams, and a phenom enough for them to get rid of the other guys and let Kyron Williams run all over the field. Puka Nacua is back. Cooper Kupp is back. They talked about maybe he was going to get traded. Apparently now he's not going to be. They just beat the Minnesota Vikings, and the Rams are very much in play to potentially still be a playoff team. Seattle, they struggled at home last week against Buffalo. They lost by 3 touchdowns. What do you got, PJ?
The two receivers, I think, were coming back this week together. Cooper Kupp, also Bobby Ebert. He loves these guys. I think they win easy.
Yeah, I got to go with the Rams in this one on the road over the Seattle Seahawks. So I'm going with the Rams to get a victory, and then all of a sudden, I think the Rams are going to put themselves in a place. If my memory serves me correctly, they win this game, they'll be 500. They will. They're 3-4 right now, so they'll very much be in play for the postseason. So Sunday Night Football is going to take us to Minnesota. Indianapolis, Joe Flacco. At Minnesota, Sam Darnold. 2 quarterbacks left for dead are now going to be on primetime. What do you got, PJ?
Well, I'm a little upset with Anthony Richardson. I got to say this because he subbed himself out of a game last week because he was tired. And he went and sat down to play.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? You don't get tired in the NFL and sit down. You play. Hand the ball off to a guy the next play so you don't run around. Don't run around, Anthony. You're a quarterback, not a halfback. He loses the game anyway. I like Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota's at home in this matchup. I think Joe Flacco will do some things fantasy football-wise, but I got to go with Minnesota to get this victory as well, which brings us into Monday Night Football, PJ. And Monday Night Football, let me get Minnesota on the board here for me. There we go. And Monday Night Football is going to put us in Kansas City, Tampa at Kansas City. We know that Baker Mayfield could do some good things, but Chris Godwin is injured. Mike Evans is injured. So you got Rachaad White trying to run around. You got Bucky Irving and Sean Tucker from Syracuse who've done some good things at certain times this season. Tampa has the ability to score a lot of points, but they don't have 2 of their biggest weapons at full health, and that's an issue. Who are they going to throw the ball to? Who is Baker Mayfield going to get the ball out to? Where on the other side of it, Kansas City added another wideout, DeAndre Hopkins, who went from Houston to Arizona to Tennessee for 5 seconds, and now he's in Kansas City. What do you have, PJ?
Well, can you imagine how Andy Reid, how did he get Hopkins to come to Kansas City? It's easy, Andy, because you're playing for the best quarterback in the game. DeAndre Hopkins was probably jumping for joy because he could play here. Tampa doesn't have the wide receivers to stay in this game. And Baker Mayfield's going to be running for his life. I think Kansas City wins this game, frankly, rather easily.
Yeah, I think Kansas City, I mean, you want to see Chris Godwin and Mike Evans in a game, in any game, definitely in a game like this. Kansas City just continues to impress. They lose Tyreek Hill a couple years ago. They still win a Super Bowl. Then they bring in Xavier Worthy, who has a faster speed in the 40 than Tyreek Hill, who people considered the fastest guy in the NFL before Xavier Worthy came in from Texas. And now you bring in DeAndre Hopkins with Travis Kelce and everything else they have going for them. Kareem Hunt is back. Kansas City is a danger. They are a terror, and they're going to win on Monday night, in my opinion, as well. So we're going with Kansas City, both of us. PJ, any final notes you want to make about the Jacksonville Jaguars? What do you want to woof about?
No, I'm upset. I'm upset. I don't know who I'm upset with more. Defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, Pedersen, Khan. I don't know who I'm upset with. But I think Shad has got the writing on the wall. I know he's not going to fire Pedersen before the end of the year. I think that would be who the hell would take over? There's no one on the staff that could take over. So maybe the offensive coordinator. But if Shad is going to drop the axe at the end of the season, I assume we'll have Bill Belichick come see us. I don't like the way they're playing. Defense is still trying hard. Trevor Lawrence is doing the best. He's got 3 really super wide receivers. Thomas is going to be an All-Pro as a rookie.
Yeah.
It's terrible to see.
Yeah, it's Brian Thomas has done a good thing. Travis Etienne, when healthy, he's done a good thing. Tank Bigsby's been good. Trevor Lawrence has had his moments. Evan Engram is obviously a force. The defense has been no force to anybody. They haven't stopped anyone. And there seems to be, maybe some things are getting better right now, but there seems to be a lack of leadership. And I wasn't even in the locker room. And so to the people that think I don't deserve to be there, let me make something known. I said 2 to 3 weeks into the season that they had a cultural problem. Your head coach, Doug Peterson, admitted it in week 6. I knew that the team had a cultural problem before he admitted it publicly, and I'm not even physically there. So if you know something without even having to be there, I think that maybe you've earned the right to be there. That's just my opinion. That's just my thought. Life isn't always fair. Things don't always happen for the good. But, let me know how the interviews are going without having a positive guy who's built relationships with those people in the locker room talking with them. Because when they lose, I respect them. Can you say the same for the rest of the media that you let in the building? So, with that being said, Jacksonville, to the players, I love you. To the guys that are fighting on the field, I respect you. To the people around those players, maybe you need to start respecting the people that have respect for your organization, especially those of them that were there way before you even sniffed the place. Jacksonville needs to figure it out, but there's a lot of problems in Jacksonville, and unfortunately, there's no love lost for me in that world because the Jacksonville Jaguars have lost control and lost direction, and they've let people in that building that have absolutely no respect for morals, values, content of character, or anything of merit. And if you bring people in the building that don't respect the things that matter, I'm not surprised that things aren't going the way you want them to go. If you want to make changes in Jacksonville, there's a lot of places to do that in. I don't wish anybody losing their job. I just hope some people have a come to Jesus moment, figure things out, and get better. But the Jacksonville Jaguars are where they are right now because they've chosen to allow things into their culture. And if you let a virus get in your water, don't be surprised when everybody gets sick. So with that being said, PJ, I appreciate your time. As always, I thank you for being here, and I look forward to talking with you soon.
Okay, Dan, I'll see you later.
Take
Bye-bye.
care. See you. That coming from Papa Joe. Jerry just sent me a shocked face. What is that shocked face, Jerry? Tell me what that shocked face is all about because of what I just said. So we're going to take our final step aside of the show. We'll be back right after this to wrap up Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9Campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to K9 Campground.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks, coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, is available Tuesday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on Sundays from 10 to 5. Head off to GG Cards and Breaks today for soccer, hockey, basketball, football, baseball, and more, including Disney Lorcana, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Magic the Gathering, and Pokemon. You could find all of this stuff at GG Cards and Breaks all throughout the week. You never know the products that are going to come in, and you never know what's going to go out. They have singles, graded cards, packs, and boxes. They have autograph cards, one-of-ones, relic cards, RPAs, which stands for Rookie Patch Auto. So it's a rookie card, it's a patch or a relic from the player, and it's autographed by the player. You never know what you're going to find at GG Cards and Breaks. You can go and look in their cases and take something that you're like, oh, okay, that's right in front of me. I know what that card is. I want to bring it home. Or you can open a pack or a box or packs and boxes and try your luck. See what you get. You never know what you're going to get at GG Cards and Breaks, and that's the fun of it all, is that they are constantly moving product in and out of there. It is so much fun. Makes me feel like a big kid, and I'm surrounded by really awesome people. From Josh and Anthony to Joel and Alex and so on and so forth. The crew is great, and I appreciate them so very much. Head to GG Cards and Breaks today and experience the difference on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, right off of Teal Ave. Open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6, and on Sundays from 10 to 5. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I want to thank you for tuning in to this broadcast of Wake Up Call and every broadcast of Wake Up Call. And, to Jacksonville, I mean, the fact of the matter is, I have always appreciated the welcoming, open environment. And it's not like that anymore in Jacksonville. And when a place that is warm becomes cold, I'm not meaning to take a shot over the bow because a shot was taken toward me. So let me be clear about something. I love Jacksonville. I love the players. I love the relationships that I built for over a decade. I'm just a firm believer that if you are who you say you are, and you do your work, and you are positive, and you are honest, and you show up, that you should never be questioned, and you should never be pushed. And I am very let down that an organization that I have served, given my blood, sweat, and tears, traveled to, spent money on, the effort that I made to go to a game is more than most would in the area of Jacksonville. And to make all of the sacrifices I made just to be slapped in the face after those sacrifices is a tough thing to swallow. But God does everything for a reason. And even though man has free will, when something doesn't work out and there's no logical, rational reason for it, as my mother said, you have to trust that when you do everything that you possibly can and it doesn't work, that God is redirecting you. And listening to my mother's words and trusting in God has paid off. So do I miss the guys? Of course I do. Do I miss being there, and do I think I bring a unique element to it? Of course I do. Or else people in the media wouldn't follow me around the locker room and record the answers to the questions that I ask. I did nothing to not be there. But God wanted me somewhere else. And in just a couple months, I've seen the clarity of that. So do I miss them? Of course I do. But I'm getting built for something else. And I trust God with that. So there's no malice. There's no anger. There's no resentment. There's no hate. It's an unfortunate situation, undeserving, unwarranted, and unchecked. But God doesn't make mistakes. And I know that He's refocusing me. And I've been enjoying that. I want to thank everybody for being here on youtube.com/wakeupcallDT, as well as facebook.com/wakeupcallDT and wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. All around the world, Monday through Friday from 9 to 11, and of course beyond 11 o'clock. You can find Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora by going to Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts. Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. I want to thank our fantastic partner in North Carolina, Brooklyn Pickle, 1788 Old Morganton Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina. I want to thank Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Servomation, reinventing, reimagining, and reinvigorating what it means to have vending in your school, in your store, in your university, your college, your business, at a rest stop. Servomation does it differently. The quality of food, the variety of food, the technology. I never knew that this could be vending. And Servomation and Brian Bruno helped me to see a difference, and that's what I think you should check out by going to servomation.com. Mother's Cupboard, Pizza Man, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Chick-fil-A Cicero, GG Cards and Breaks, Fire Pit, Barbecue and Saloon, Brian's Landing, Great Lakes Honda City, Avicoli's, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Ma and Pa's, the snack capital of the world, and of course we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Lemoyne College Dolphins. It is Fins Up every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Dolphins every Wednesday during Dolphin Time at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. And we are telling the stories of student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni. You can find it all by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and of course find our Lemoyne playlist. We just added a bonus feature, a Dolphin Dive interview, coming on the heels of Phil Brown being named the VP of Intercollegiate Athletics and the Assistant VP of Intercollegiate Athletics and Campus Recreation, a.k.a. the leader of the athletic department at Lemoyne College. We just did a special with Phil Brown, and I was going to hold it and air it in the morning, but I couldn't. I wanted to get it out as soon as possible, as I know a lot of people were probably trying to talk to him and get that story out there, and we're supposed to be first in this connection with Lemoyne. So we got his story out. You can go and watch it on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt and on facebook.com/wakeupcalldT. Go to wakeupcalldt.com to the homepage to see Lemoyne as well as the exclusive partners tab for more information. Go to LemoyneDolphins.com and fins up. The Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Bobcats in what we call the Bobcat Buzz. Every single month, you will find your Bobcats with me, men's and women's basketball, men's and women's soccer, baseball, esports, the leadership, student athletes, and coaches of the Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse call Wake Up Call home, and I am so honored and privileged to have them as we have gone over 3 years together, which has been a true and amazing blessing. You can find it all by going to wakeupcalldt.podbean, or pardon me, you can find it all by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, click subscribe, hit the notification bell, find the BSC Syracuse playlist. You can go to wakeupcalldt.com to find the Bobcats on our homepage as well as underneath the exclusive partners tab. And for more information, you can go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com. Next week, we're going to have a huge, awesome opportunity with men's and women's soccer. I'll be announcing that very soon, so stay tuned to Wake Up Call for that. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Binghamton University Bearcats. Find your Bearcats every single Tuesday during Bearcat Time, Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. The Bearcats will be joining me with student athletes, coaches, and administration in the Bearcat break room. And their leader, Binghamton University Athletics Director Gene Marshall, joins me with Moments with Marshall throughout the year. You can find it all by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find the Binghamton playlist. The Bearcats are on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage, and underneath the exclusive partners tab, just look for the big B. For more information, go to binghamtonbearcats.com and go Bearcats. With that being said, here on the show, I want to thank you for tuning in. I want to thank Papa Joe for being a part of the broadcast. I want to thank God for this amazing opportunity to do what I love and love what I do. Please know, Jacksonville, to the organization, I respect you and I love you. I just wish things were different. Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, X at CallDT, Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT. God bless, no stress, do your best. Take care, have a beautiful day.